Marc. Nice to meet you.
Hello, Uma. We are finally connected.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So yes, we're hooked up. And I can see our demos there. Yes, it looks like it's working, right?
Right. And we decided not only would we show our demo piece, but we would create 3 to 4 of our best images from the first half of the month.
Okay.
Let's start with your demo piece because I see it differently now.
We're going to talk about that. Okay. So you're right there. So this is actually the one that I did during the demo, and then I redid it afterwards because I felt that I'd run out of time on the background. So if you remember in the demo, I was doing all this like constructing of all this the hanging clothing, the clothing on the clotheslines. Yeah, I'm spending a lot of time learning to draw those things. So I actually redid it so it has more of the environmental scene. Yeah, which is that cheating? That's cheating. Too bad I cheated.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful. It has that busyness, that feeling of busyness in a market without specifying what exactly led to the busyness. The figures are just gorgeous. I can tell and the age difference. And then the stuff on the left of the figures, it's so amorphous, but just enough. Left of the figures as I see it.
The dresses and well, I mean the star of the show I think is the clothes on the line.
Yeah, it's just I mean, when you look at it closely, like this is your genius. When you look at your strokes closely, they mean nothing until you can see the whole picture. They suddenly start reading like objects, like close up. I can't tell what it is. So that power of abstraction is amazing.
I think that's inherent in the direct process, right? We're just letting the water move around these wet shapes, and what's wet at any given time is creating this silhouette. So I certainly see it in yours as well. There's just this repeated pattern of the strokes, and your mind has to say, what am I looking at? And gradually come together as the market. Yeah. So you have the sense of light so much better. So even in my redo, I don't have this sense of light. I'm really amazed at that we're in the shadows, and I can see the value of the sunlight hitting the ground, these bright bars of gold where the sun is filtering through, and the rest is in shadow. It's just a really brilliant job of feeling that I'm under the tarps. Yeah. So that's why I redid it, because last time it was just this weird kind of anatomical drawing of the stand. This is what I feel is the difference between urban sketching and then you have really a work of art here that just has the whole space. So good job. You win that round.
I noticed something common between the first and the second, and that was the color. You chose to highlight that maroon carmine like color, and the second attempt you carried it through to the shadow, which was right. That is not that is not a color you would have seen. So that is definitely compositional and deliberate, and it's so quick that I can see your judgment was fast. So very cool.
Just some luck there as well. Yeah, I always use the same limited palette. I only have a few colors in the tray, and so then that's the color I have for red is this pearl and maroon. I used to use alizarin crimson, but everyone's gone off that for light fastness concerns. So yeah, so if it's going to be red, it's that, and then I have to manipulate that color somehow. Yeah.
Let's see your second favorite. Well, I'm not assuming this is favorite, but
all right. So we're going to go through what we did. So I didn't remember it was only 3, so I have more than 3 here, but I'll just quickly. Sure. Okay, so this is a little self-contained project of these weird mountainous scenes. So let's get them in order.
They're reminding me of your last year's work too.
Yeah, I think hopefully they do. So this is the one that I consider sort of the peak that I call the holy mountain. And I do have another rendition of that.
Ooh.
So these 3 are my top ones. I got another rendition of this. Where'd it go? I know it's in here somewhere. Okay, so there's a crazy rendition of this.
Oh, Machu Picchu.
Yeah. this sort of this mountain peak and these hills. It just goes crazy with just color and shapes. And then this one,
Wow.
I kind of had it in my head, got it, right?
I like this more. I like
Yeah.
this more.
One thing I should also say off the top, I don't know if it's just me, but I'm seeing Zoom is really pushing the blacks to black. And really having a hard time with pale colors. So they're super, they're not as contrasty as they look. So between these two, I did this whole series of these mountains, these imaginary mountains, right? They don't look like real mountains. They look like imaginary mountains. Let me turn off this fan that just went off. So yeah, so I've done this tour of these imaginary mountains trying to achieve the ideal pictures. And these are the two that are the peak of my peaks. So
Peak of my peaks. I just love the iciness in the right hand one. It is so cold and brutal. You feel you're in a brutal weather. I can feel it. And even though the sky is soft, on the left hand one, the composition is great with the curve. It reminds me of Arizona. If it were to snow there.
it does snow there. Yeah.
Yeah, it does snow there. Yeah. But these colors are not what I associate with Sedona. So the fact that you made me remember those with a blue, and your blues how are they so cold? Cold meaning they make me feel cold.
Well, it's a color that they market as called turquoise, but I think it's just phthalo blue with a little bit of a tint, phthalo blue, phthalo green mix. That's what it is. This color called turquoise. So it's phthalo blue is already pretty darn cold. And yeah, so then I often will just add a little yellow.
Yeah. And the way you handle the edges of the dark rocks and then let them do their thing and then purposely reduce the value. It's not only amorphous, ambiguous, it's mysterious, but it has that steeliness again.
Mysterious, that's the key word. Yeah. That's what I'm looking for in this type of imaginary mountain. I told you before about the AI generated images, this thing called Gauguin.
Yeah.
By the time this comes out, I'm going to have posted about this. So I might as well briefly mention that we talked about how you could generate these photographic images in the computer. So that's where the reference for these come from. They're obviously not real mountains, they're made up mountains. So I had invented these mysterious landscapes and then painted for my digital creations. So I can't show you that now because it's all stuck in the computer. But the goal was to create these landscapes that were entirely imaginary and then make them even more imaginary by painting on top of them, like paint or translating them to the eye of painting. So
Fantastic. And Gauguin takes a text input, correct?
it's a cartoon. It's like a very basic two-dimensional diagram. So you put a color for sky, a color for stone, a color for trees, and anywhere you've put a colored pixel, it takes that into account while it builds a photographic collage. So I used to make photographic collage. I mean, I still do. I'll make a photographic collage in Photoshop, excuse me, and then paint from that in an effort to make a landscape that's like entirely invented, right?
We can edit this out if it gets too AI, but I've played recently with text to image. So I can, as long as I can describe an image properly, AI can build it for me.
Right, sure, that's, yeah. If you just said mysterious mountains, Arctic, cold, it would start giving you these images. And my ideal world is it just shows you a bunch of footage and it decides what you like.
Yeah.
Like it could watch your pupil response and it could say, oh, you like that one. And it gives you more of the ones that you like. Yeah. You just start seeing these beautiful landscapes. Yeah.
So I started with grass and then I made it put pepperoni pizza far away, and it worked. And then I wanted to put a hole in the ground and I wanted to see what AI did to the grass. So when the hole is in the ground, I wanted the grass to bend into the hole, and it did it. I mean, whew,
crazy. I'd like to see that. Yeah, I'd like to see that. So when I'll have shared some of the source images for how this is made, but I think you understand the process. Yeah.
Show me the other Machu Picchu, which has the green dominant.
This one?
The Machu Picchu one.
The more crazier one, yeah. So these were, yeah. So there's two versions of this, right? So we have this and this. But so here it's a lot more shape into shape, just one stroke merging into the next stroke. So and a lot of opaque, there's a lot of opaque white, like right in here, this kind of mist effect. You know, as compared to the other peak, which is done in, I think you can see it's silhouette, like silhouette shapes. There's a little bit more kind of strokes merged together, just strokes laid against each other.
This is more traditional compared, I mean, it's not very, but still between the two, this sounds more traditional.
Well, I think the other is maybe a little more, to me, the other is more traditional. The idea of making a wet shape and filling it with color, like you're using the paint bucket. This is sort of, this one is kind of like my thing of building a mosaic of stroke next to stroke. And as the two strokes touch, they merge together, right?
Wow. Also, how have you succeeded in giving it a Yupo look without it being Yupo? Is it Yupo or Yupo?
You think? It's just working fast and just lots of water, so it all floods together. Like you can see the backwash that's going on in here from the, So I like to get a lot of these accidental floods and sort of try to control where they're going on the page. Here, I have to put this down. I've lost my autofocus. Hello, focus.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. So, and then this proceeding from light to dark. So I wanted in the second one, this is the second one, I wanted to just calm down, not be so aggressive. So the silhouettes are much more pale in the distance, and yet I still have some activity, some excitement in the foreground there. So it's sort of like a balance, like too much excitement, but it's kind of interesting. And then so I have a blue version of that. It's the same. So what I did is I generated this ideal mountain out of the AI, which is just, if you haven't watched the other videos, this is going to sound like insanity, right? But I just generated mountains till I got this ideal one, and painted the same one over and over again in different ways.
The one with the lighter saturation of Machu Picchu, the one to your left, that one has a very 3D feel to it. So if I could put it in any software or just Facebook, if you put it and ask it to make 3D, it will easily carve out the first mountain. It has so much volume and
the depth of the planes. Yeah, that's what I thought was missing, with the amount of activity being too similar, the amount of so there's less activity and less contrast in each step back, right? It's your classic receding space illusion.
Wow.
Because I want to make these imaginary landscapes feel like you could travel into them, right? That's sort of what I've been doing with a lot of my other studio paintings, is this, the drawing you in kind of feeling.
That left one, you're absolutely right. If you blow it up to the size of a wall, it would give me the feels like I'm there, I'm going there. That's powerful. That's very powerful.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
Right. So show us what you've been building.
So all of mine are not going to look colorful because I've been trying to get to something called faded light or dim light. So I've been working with references. So we will not focus on this one. So this was my first. That's the amount of light I started with, and then I started reducing it, and I went here, and then from here. Now we'll have to do something strange, but I'm happy with this.
Okay.
The drawing is a little clunky, but that just means I need to go practice my drawing on a piece of paper, and then I'll come back and paint, and that muscle memory will work. Carry through for that 1 hour or something.
Yeah, so I really see the depth planes developing here for sure, right? That I guess it's the office towers in the back, and then in the front, that light post, the way it covers the furthest bit in the upper corner there is pretty amazing. That little intersection just really has all the depth at that one overlap. But then down below the road is a geometric design that goes into the space. So this really has that San Francisco road going up the hill. Yeah, beautiful sense of space.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. This was done very traditionally, light to dark, one by one, very slowly.
Right. Yeah.
But what I'm proud of, and it's not going to show well, is because it dried. The pigment dried, and when the pigment dried, I realized there was this some mica-like thingy. And so this was my first attempt to get. I was in Mendocino, and I was walking through a forest, a tunnel of forest, a tunnel of made by foliage, and if you look back, there was just these few weed-like things coming out which were bright, but this was too bright. So this was a success. It doesn't look because it's shining.
I don't see this gloss that you're saying.
And then this, you're right, when you talked to me about gouache, when we were commenting that the gouache, so I added this bit, and this bit in gouache to lighten it even further. Just this bit, because it was the farthest and it was really outside in light. This section is still getting some reflected light only. And
the bit between the trees is really crucial to see the glint of light come between the two tree trunks.
yeah,
That's really crucial. So that's an example right there where you know what you can do with the opaque. That would, because if it had melted together and it was too dark between the trees, you wouldn't have the overlap.
yeah.
So yeah, absolutely necessary. I can see them sort of side-ish by side-ish.
Yes, side-ish,
Yeah.
side-ish.
I actually kind of like the greener one. That burst of sort of chartreuse green vegetation in the lower right, and the way the trunks have sort of a green glow to them. So so why do you think this? I like the green one. It's more
Okay.
attractive to me. It just looks, because it's so green and foresty. So the grayer one you like the lighting better?
This was truer. This is true. This is more true. If this I could push to white, this would read better. But again, it's not about, and also because I finally could do this. This nothingness melts into somethingness.
Right.
It's hard to do.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
And
okay. So the other is more pretty. Right?
Yes.
So then I guess it depends on your goals. So I like the other one. It's just attractive. It's just sort of a beautiful romantic painting.
And then I also had, there was one more aim. I had to go, there's a light layer of darkness all over it. It had to go from warm to dark.
Yeah.
And that was, this I knew would be good because I was thinking that in all dimly lit pieces, you really need harmony of colors, because then it speaks better. Harmony meaning the same color actually, because
yeah, there's a whole green tone overall. Yeah. So the other is more subtle. This is so I'm responding, I guess, this personal taste to the color.
Yeah.
And, I just feel this lushness about the greenery that makes it more attractive. I paint great paintings all the time, so I'm not one to talk about you shouldn't make a great painting. So I just don't. I think the lighting is good on both, and so I have this beautiful sense of under the trees, and it's bright on the other side. So I'm in the shadow looking out at the light. That's in both of them, but in this one I also have pretty colors.
Yeah,
so,
that's
they're
true.
both successful. They're both successful. It's so hard to get depth in the darks in a watercolor, right? So
yeah. I'm gonna go to lunar black. I was trying to get these effects with moon glow, and it's not.
Lunar black doesn't get very dark, so we'll see, because it's got that granularity in it. It always leaves some paper going between the granulations. It kind of looks great. Now this is amazing. This is amazing.
This is interior from Manchester. You were in Manchester for the symposium too.
Oh, that's the restaurant? Like the
No,
lobby?
I was staying somewhere farther down. I had to walk.
Can you bring it up to the camera so I can see?
I can, but I've been loving the light for so long, and I've wanted to paint it for a very, very long time.
Yes, that's an incredible interior. So I'm going to say, like, it reminds me of the Sargent interior, these kind of dim spaces, and you've got the lighting of the golden lamps and the light coming in the window. It's just incredible. Like, it really just looks three-dimensional.
Thank you. I'm very happy, like a little girl. Yeah, but I was happy when I got it too.
And the sense of the cold light outside the windows versus the warm light inside the room is pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. And you're abstracting the drawing, but the sense of space, just like with your market, the sense of space is so convincing where like it can feel like you're in there, even though I probably would have to stare at it to like figure out, okay, there's tables and couches and I see people there and there's a desk on the other side. So it looks like a hotel lobby to me or a library or something. Yeah.
Yay.
So that's rather incredible. I don't know how you did that. I have no idea how you got the values like that. Like my problem every year we start this watercolor thing, and every year it's the first serious watercolor I've done for the year. And the paintings come out all pale while I'm getting my act together. So you have such depth, but they don't look overworked. So I don't know how you're doing that. That's kind of amazing.
So here's the opinion, the worldwide opinion from many more masters that I've heard who are very jealous of you, Mark. So I'll share it with you gleefully. And they say this, they hate it that you don't paint for the rest of the year. And then you just come in June and you come as though you've not forgotten painting. So that first one that you feel you're struggling with, it's still so good. The first word I've heard Sunita says, damn it, he's not lost it. 11 months he didn't paint and he's not lost it. So kudos to you.
I feel out of practice because I've been away from the water all winter. But this is Canada. What are you supposed to do? You can't go paint outside. What is this? This looks like you're inside a machine.
It is inside a mall. I'm gonna try and move it.
Okay, so I'm looking up at a skylight.
Yes, but it's, I don't know what to do. Okay.
That's okay. That's okay. It's like a fish. I feel like a fisheye. Like I can see the floor and the sky.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's sort of it's got this three-dimensional fisheye effect. Like it looks like the light is very cold though. So your last one had that warm wooden interior. Maybe think of a British library or something like that. So this one looks with these sort of I guess they're the railings of the balconies. My first thought that I was seeing some kind of air conditioning ducts or something because they look machine-like. Now that's because
I mean, yes, you're right. These are balconies, and the cold feeling is from the tiles and the cold tiles and very slick surfaces in the mall in Manchester. The same year of symposium.
Well, and then it was probably raining because it was raining constantly there.
Yeah.
So that gives you that light. It definitely looks cold and inhospitable. It's a zombie mall. When you know those malls that are dead.
If I'd reduced it, people would understand. It would be more. The original picture is, I mean, the aspect ratio is much narrower because then it clarifies that the person taking the photo was looking down. These are my feet. These are my feet. So I started from down and then you go up. It's a panel, but a vertical panel.
One of those vertical panoramas. Yeah. It does remind me of one of those. Paul Heaston just posted up some of his 360-degree drawings.
Yes.
So it reminds me of you can see that the panorama is going on inside the drawing. Yeah. So that is also alien. It's kind of a weird view, right? They give you that warped space feeling, so it's disorienting. Yeah. So I don't feel very happy to be inside this mall. It feels like the Dawn of the Dead mall. But the sense of this cold light coming in the skylight is pretty amazing. Again, so that's what you're trying to do is render these dim cast lights. Super difficult in watercolor.
It's getting hard. I was happy here, then something bad happened. I might repeat this to get the drawing. So again, I've realized that things that don't work, I need to draw more. I need to practice somewhere else and then come back.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean, those are the good ones that I'm happy to share.
Well, I love that. I love that interior in Manchester Hotel. That one's definitely the best. So why do I like that one so much more? This is also one of those panoramas then, right?
Yeah.
One of those, so you're using the iPhone to give you this huge view. Yeah, it feels like you could bend the painting around you and you'd be in this VR space. So how you get the soft lighting and the kind of the lack of contrast that says you're in an ambient lit situation. It's pretty amazing. It's just having the right value everywhere, which is super hard. So like, how many times did you have to do it?
One time.
Yeah, one time. So you're just like all tuned up and it comes out successful.
Yeah, this was the last painting of the day. So you're right. It was true. I was tuned up and I could go from green. If you can see, this shadow is green to a cooler one. So,
Yeah.
so the shadows.
Have you started using a lot of pigments? Like, do you have a whole bunch of pigments on your palette?
No, I still have 12, but
Still 12.
I have started using opaque color, which is called pink brown, but it's actually a yellow.
Okay.
But it's yellow with white. Do
Okay.
you want me to show you the tube of it?
Well, whatever. It's in that painting. Is that the ground? That yellowish brown? Okay.
It's about that color. It's this color. It's a dirty gray, dirty yellow.
Okay. All right. Well, so you might get that from sepia color or something as well.
Yeah.
But it's just the values look so almost photographically perfect, right? Like, we hate it when people say it looks like a photograph, but the quality of the gradients are so soft you can't even tell, right? So like, I have very harsh gradients from light to all the way to these black accents. So it's super high contrasty stuff in my picture. And so this, I mean, you got contrast in the picture.
You had a disadvantage, and the disadvantage was you saw your reference picture take place in front of you. This thing has incubated in my mind for 4-6 years. And
no, it's not. I mean, I don't know about that. It's just your ability to control in your mind these middle value stuff. Like, okay, maybe it's because I come a lot from drawing, so I always like a high contrast thing. Like, I'm really looking for contrast edges and where the black shadow accents. And I'm also building my paintings in the 3 value kind of model. It's light, middle, dark.
Yeah.
So this whole painting is in the middle. I mean, it's not, because you have bright lights in the outside window, but that's what makes the high dynamic range, what's outside here. Are there even white in the window? It's even up to white in the window.
Yeah, this is white.
Yeah. So you have all the light to dark, but if you look at the histogram of a bad painting, it'll be spikes on the center, and you want this perfect dome where all the information is in the middle, right? Which is when you're tuning up a photograph or film, you want lots of information in the middle tones, and so the darks don't look black, like blown out, really overly contrasted, and the lights don't look blown out. Excuse me, lots of information in the lights. So you've got that good photograph quality. So I don't know how you did it. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Are you excited about meeting in 2 weeks to record?
Yes, so this little project of my mountains was I'm doing basically one mini project each week. So I hope I have another idea. These are almost like a little philosophical exercise. So I'm playing with what the computer generates, but turning it into my own art. Next one, I'll have another surprise, hopefully.
We look forward to it.
Yeah, and then just to see your amazing paintings. Yeah, well, can't wait till I get to see this one closer up when you post it.
Sure thing, sure thing. Well, this was great. See you around.
Okay. All right, see you next week.